All right, welcome back to the RetroCult Podcast. I am Chuck. He is Mack. Glad to be back. Mack, what's been going on in your world, man?
Oh, we have had a fun weekend. Got a little little retro hunting in over the weekend, and so I'm gonna turn my camera on and show off what my latest find is.
Ah, yes. I'm glad you went back to get that, man.
I can't adjust it enough to actually fit my big head, but I actually had this fire helmet when I was a kid. I loved Emergency, and I've been looking at this one for a few months now. So we were over that way yesterday, and I finally pulled the trigger on it.
Yeah, I think I know the last time we talked with the passing of that actor, I think it was time, man.
Yep.
Hey, I sent Laura a link the other day of a hat just like that, but it's Jaws and Quint. I was like, Mack should get that. He would look good in that.
Yeah, well, I bought this one. This has kind of been the style of hat I've been talking about starting to wear. And considering that what you're wearing tonight and because of the episode we're about to do, I figured, you know what, I'll go get mine. Instead of wearing my one of my pop culture baseball caps, I'll wear this tonight. So it's not a deer stalker, but it's as close as I have.
Yeah, I mean, I bought this hat specifically for the days that I cosplay as Sherlock at school, and never found a deer stalker. But this is actually kind of a nice hat. It's actually really well made. I wanted to make a crazy comment before we get going, man. Your Sleestack hat that you wear. I saw something the other day, and I haven't had a chance to look this up yet. But apparently, the Sleestacks were named after a general in I think it said the Civil War. Like there was
I did not really. I didn't know that.
Sleestack, and I was like, okay, like Laura may have a new favorite general. Like we'll have to look that up.
I may have a new favorite general.
Yeah, I just read that, and like I don't believe anything that I read anymore. But I was like, no, I've got to go look that up because that would be wild if that was a true statement that they were named after a general in the war. So,
which side?
That is a very good question. I don't know, man. I don't think it said, to be honest with you. But like I said, half of those things I just kind of look at and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of a cool statement. And then I always think I'm going to go look that up later. And I just haven't had time to do that today because
I've been doing a lot of research yesterday and today too, because I guess we've already kind of let the cat out of the bag that tonight's episode, we're going to be doing a deep retro cult dive into Sherlock Holmes, our favorite stories, actors, appearances outside of novels and TV, maybe. And I know one of the subjects you put on the list was the decided lack of toys related to Sherlock.
Oh, man. And in the research, man, I am really upset that there's one particular line of toys that didn't get made because, man, I would get them all right now if they did. And we'll get into that sometime later. Yeah, there's no toys, man. There's like nothing. There's no Sherlock toys out there at all, man.
Well, before we get into Sherlock Holmes, I did want to say that I'll show on camera. I did find a nice stack of comics over the weekend.
Oh man, where'd you go?
I went to the King Antique Mall on lunch on Friday.
Okay.
And that's where they have the $1,200 comic spinner rack we were discussing.
Oh, is that where that was?
That's where it is.
Where I saw that.
Yeah, that's where it is. And but the comics on the rack are awesome and very reasonably priced. Two of my favorite pickups were I did get a Charlton Fighting Army.
Yeah.
And this one I've never heard of. It's a Marvel Comics from like the early 70s called War is Hell, #6. Okay. So it's a series. I haven't had a chance to dive into this one yet to figure it out. I was just like, never heard of this war comic. So I'm like, I'm definitely going to give that a try. There were some losers. Another one that I always love finding we kind of mentioned this, I think, in the last episode, but I found Strange Sports.
Yeah, Strange
couple
Sports
more.
are
I
pretty
know
cool.
I have 1 and 2, and now I have 3 and 5 too. I don't even know how long this series ran, but yeah, I enjoy that one. That's one of those weird comics DC published back in the early 70s. And then I got a really nice run of I got a few issues of Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes. But the big find for me, because this is one I'm actively always working on, is I found a nice little run of early 70s Superman.
Okay.
And they're all in great condition. And I didn't pay more than $5 for any. The most expensive comic was the War is Hell. That one was $15, and
Okay.
I wasn't gonna buy it, but I was so interested in it that it broke me down, and I spent the $15 for it.
Did you happen to see the Batman credit card?
I did not. I didn't.
The one case. It's not from.
Like I said, I was on my lunch hour, so I was
okay.
kind of pressed for time.
Yeah.
I basically, Laura had been there the day before and sent me pictures of the spinner rack, and I was like, as soon as I saw the price, I'm like, oh, that's the one Chuck was talking about.
I couldn't remember where that was. I'm glad you saw that.
But in her photograph, I saw some of the comics that were on the rack, and I was like, oh, I need to get over there and go through these and see. And I'm glad I did. I'll be honest, I almost cleaned the rack off because
hey, that's what it's for, man.
There were some weird wars with Jonah Hex that I was interested in too, but I don't know why they're asking like $8 or $9 a piece for those. I'm like, I don't think those are super popular or super expensive. So anyways, I left those behind. I would much rather have the Superman and the War comics. I was hoping they might even have some GI Combats, but they didn't.
Okay.
But anyway, so I did go look around just a little bit. Then yesterday, we went to celebrate my son's girlfriend's birthday. The Taylor Swift Viewmaster you sold me was a big hit.
Remember that? Really, that's cool.
Yeah, she really loved that. She's a big Swiftie.
That's neat, man.
So, and then after we were done, we actually went by the vendor vault in Kernersville, and of course, Unique Collectibles, I think, is the name of the other one that's in that same shopping center, and that's. Yes. We were walking around there, and I was like, okay, I can't leave this here again. It is still here. It's a little more than I want to pay, but considering the condition of the stickers in good shape and the overall condition of the whole helmet is so nice, and it's such a nostalgic, this is one of those things I found, like, this genuinely makes me happy that I have this. Now.
I understand. I understand that, man. That's awesome. Any news on the Eagle, or did you talk to the guy at the Star Wars store?
No, I didn't get a chance to talk to the guy at the Star Wars store this week. And the Eagle, I had wanted to kind of go to Collectors Confluence, but we just, with other commitments and stuff, we just weren't going to have a chance to go there.
There's another time then. Hopefully that'll work out.
Yeah. I did see Todd Venture visited Collectors Confluence in this week's video.
Again?
So I was gonna, it actually is called Return to Collectors Confluence. Yeah. So I was going to watch that video. I haven't watched it yet. And, see if I saw the Eagle in the background, sad news for Todd. He's, he and his wife are in the middle of moving to South Carolina from Charlotte.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, one of their puppies passed away this week.
I did see that, man. That's pretty sad. That can't be easy on top of all the other stuff that's going on. So.
Yeah, that's a rough combo. Like when we lost Stubby, thankfully there was nothing else going on in our lives, because that was about all I could handle at one time. Yeah,
I listened to another podcast and they were actually talking about, pets and stuff the other day. And, they barely made it through the podcast. And it had been a long time for both of them. And it was like, if you have pets, you get it. If you don't, well, you don't get it. And that's whatever. I know. So,
and then that is it. That is it. One last find that I did, and this kind of ties into the subject matter tonight is while we were at Vendor Vault, I picked something up for the Chuck box. I need to start a Chuck box.
The Chuck box, all right.
I need a Chuck box. But I did pick this up for you, and I was like, and Laura was even like, "Now, are you gonna hold on to that for a holiday or birthday?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm just gonna give it to him." But it ties into our episode tonight, and so it's got Sherlock Hemlock on the cover.
Sherlock Hemlock. Yeah, I actually was watching some of those old videos where he's like trying to figure out who ate the other half of the chicken salad sandwich from Ernie's lunchbox, and it turns out it was him.
It's funny you mentioned that, because there's actually a Sherlock Holmes novel that I found during my research that I've never heard of. It came out in the 70s, and I don't know that I would like it, but it's funny you mentioned that, where he's investigating it, but it turns out that it was him. There's actually an interesting connection to a non-canonical Sherlock Holmes novel from the 70s.
Well, let's start there, man.
So if you're ready, I'm ready to jump in. But just so you know, as soon as we can get together, I will. I've got the first thing in the Chuck box right now.
Awesome,
although
man.
I've got to start a Chuck box. It probably won't be as elaborate as the Mack box, but
the Mack box just took on a life of its own over time, man. So
yeah,
we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I added some stuff to the Mack box, some more Laura stuff too. I might really have to make a box for her when this is all said and done.
All right. Well, let's get started with, unless there's, did you find anything or get a chance to go anywhere this weekend? I don't want to cut that on. I don't want to cut off show and tell before.
No. We went out on Saturday and, had some certain plans in mind, and they didn't quite work out the way we wanted to. So I was going to go, take her to a spot to get breakfast. And by the time we got there, found out that they closed early on Saturdays. And they closed early on Saturdays. And so that didn't work out. But those back roads ran us by a few yard sales, like a little bit later in the day, for a Saturday. It was hot. And so I was at one place, and they had a huge box of old baseball cards. And I was, I just sat in the grass and started digging through it. And, the next thing I know, she's like, I'll take $20 for the whole box. And I was like, I had already seen enough cards to know that was probably well worth it. So I went ahead and said, okay. And I came home, and I've dug through a good portion of the box. There's some Michael Jordan stuff in there that's fairly valuable. There's some rookie cards in there that are nothing, nothing worth thousands of dollars. I certainly didn't rip anybody off by any means, but it was just fun taking a shot. And then on the way home, we stopped at one more, and Cassandra got, a massive stack of books. I just turn around and I just see this like 6 foot tall stack of books. And I'm like, are you buying all those? She's like, I'm buying all of them.
So what books? Like what kind of books?
There's a few authors that she's really gotten into recently. These are like really brand new books. And so
cool.
Cheesy romance books that she likes, which is great. And there's one.
I know she's actively collecting the supernatural.
Yeah,
novels.
none of those.
Yeah,
none of those, unfortunately. But it was fun, man. She bought a bunch of books at a yard sale a little while back and ended up flipping them for probably, I don't know, maybe 20 times what she paid for it at the yard sale in McKay's cash. So, that was it. Nothing, I haven't seen nothing too huge. I haven't found anything else very massive. I did pick up another Masters of the Universe figure. I hung out with John on Saturday, and before I went over to his place, because Cassandra was hanging out the pool, I just left early. I was like, well, I'm going to hit some Goodwills and thrift stores and stuff. I found that 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea cartoon for you. That looked.
Oh, is that for me? I thought you were keeping that.
No, you've got a collection of books going.
Yeah, I'm apparently collecting every edition of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
So that was a killer price on that. So I picked that up.
The interesting thing about that one is I've never like I've never seen that cartoon version of the story. And like I said in the text messages, the art on the cover, now that may not be what the style of the cartoon, but the art on the cover looks like Venture Brothers from Cartoon Network. And I was like, wow.
I watched some of it on YouTube, like I always do, just to kind of make sure that a record or a tape or a cartoon, just to see if it's halfway interesting. And it was good. I was actually surprised, and I was like,
I can't wait to watch it. We'll have to have a pizza night or something and watch 20,000 Leagues.
Oh,
we should watch that one and the original Disney one, because that's still one of my favorites.
Oh, absolutely. But we went and got the was it Cape Cod pizza you talked about?
Oh yeah. What'd you think?
And threw that in the oven. You are 100% correct. That is one of the best, if not the best, frozen pizza I've ever had. If not, I mean, it's definitely way up there on just regular pizza.
It's pretty good, just a good pizza. Not just frozen. Yeah, we had one for dinner tonight. We just bought the cheese ones, and we kind of use that as a base. Even though they sell a pepperoni, we just use the cheese pizza as a base and put whatever toppings we want. But tonight I just threw some pepperoni on there. Came out beautiful, perfect.
Hey, the pepperoni is very good.
Yep.
I mean, it's great. I mean, you'd have to get some pretty expensive pepperoni to beat what they put on there. I would love to eat at wherever this restaurant is. I would love to go there and get a fresh pizza.
I need to look, I want to look up and see like where they are. I'm assuming they're in the Northeast around Cape Cod somewhere, but I'd love to go there. And, we are just going to say we're in no way sponsored by Cape Cod, but I will say, if you're listening, if anybody from Cape Cod's listening, we would love to be sponsored by you, because we love your pizza.
I would say that would be fates intertwined if of the 12 listeners, if one of them is worse at Cape Cod pizza.
Hey, you never know. Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, definitely stranger. But it is, man. It's fantastic pizza, man. I've only seen it at Target. I've never seen that anywhere else.
That's the only place I can find it is Target. And I'm hoping it's one of those things that I don't fall in love with and then it disappears forever.
Oh, I would not be very happy, because it's pretty awesome.
I will say, this is not retro per se, but we had talked right before we started filming. You had asked if I'd bought any of the Dungeons and Dragons mystery blind boxes.
Yeah, those things are cool.
They're very cool. So I want to show you. This is the Silver Dragon. If you're listening to the podcast on YouTube, there's actually a video. I'm holding up the figure, and then this is, I forget what this thing's called. He's pretty cool. This one was my favorite of the two. Like, he's a cool looking monster. I think he's kind of aquatic too. So I think he kind of fits into my Creature from the Black Lagoon fixation.
Yeah, I like that. That's pretty awesome.
And they come in and you get the figure, you get stickers, you get like a pog. That they actually call it a trading card. So, but it has details about the thing, and I think they're actually a game, because they have point values on them. So I'm assuming there's a game associated with these blind boxes, maybe.
Oh, that's. I put.
Oh, and it comes with a 20-sided die too.
Well, that's always a plus. I can never have enough of those. I just like to roll those around as it is.
Yep.
No, I'll have to pick some of those up the next time in there, man, because that's pretty awesome.
Well, if you happen to get an extra gelatinous cube, I'll definitely work out a deal on that.
If I get 2 of those, that'll definitely be coming your way. Because I do have the Sherlock book and the Dracula book in the box for you guys. So.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, I sent you a text. I picked those. I went ahead and picked those up, because I mean, if I didn't, we'd never see them again.
Yeah, that's true.
We just went ahead and picked that up the day we were in there. I was like, yeah, they want these, and they're not that badly priced. So I'll be interested in seeing what that looks like when you finish building them, because they do look pretty unique from the pictures.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I know you sent the pictures. I just thought you were letting us know that they had them there. I misinterpreted that. So I appreciate you picking those up.
No, I went ahead and picked those up because I know I haven't seen them.
Yeah, the one at University, we've checked multiple times now and they don't have them.
Well, I bet you they have them in the back because they're not putting anything out.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. They're in the middle of they're being upscaled to the larger Target and everything. So they're in the middle of construction. And that's what I think I mentioned that last week, that like we were seeing stuff out on the shelves that they just had in the back room and it just never got put out because there are Lego sets from years ago that are now suddenly back on the shelf.
Where's your Superman action figures that came out? Because I know you're still missing a couple of those because it came out and left, the Superman the movie.
No. I have all of those.
Oh, you got all those now?
I have all of those. And as a matter of fact, yesterday when we were at Target, I picked up the Target exclusive 4-pack that has Superman, Mr. Terrific, Metamorpho, and Lex Luthor.
Oh no, I'm talking about the original Superman.
Oh, which
with Christopher Reeves. The little 3 3/4 inch you have.
Superman. Sorry. Yes, you're right. I am still missing. I'm missing Lois Lane and and Jor-El in the white robes.
And the white robes. Okay.
Yeah. No, I have now. Those apparently they did manage to get out when they should have because I haven't seen those.
I haven't seen those in forever.
And unfortunately, the look of things to come for the collector spot is not good because they were further along with the remodel and everything this week than they were last week, and the collector spot is going to be about that big.
Yeah, I don't understand the reasoning behind that. I hate it because that was definitely one of the first places that I would go when I would go into Target. I hope they I know a lot of the Targets have moved some of that onto the toy aisles. And so you can get some of the NECA and other things.
The new collector spot is going to be in the toy section, not back in the electronics. And to be honest, I'm okay with that. I just don't want them to stop carrying that stuff. It's okay if you mix it in with the regular toys. I'm fine with that. To be honest, that's probably better if you mix it in with the regular toys. But that being said, I always did enjoy the collector spot. Over the years, I found so much cool stuff there.
I have too, man.
And it's just one of those things. I hate to see it go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of change, but that's the dude.
Yeah, me either.
Well, let's get to our topic tonight, man. I've been excited about this, man, because I mean, Sherlock is one of my all-time favorites. I mean, I named my dog Sherlock, so
yeah. Sherlock Holmes has always been one of my favorite characters. Fiction, being a huge Batman fan, of course, you have to, with Batman being the world's greatest detective, you really, in the DC universe, we'll call him that, because Sherlock Holmes will always be the world's greatest detective. And I think Batman himself eventually even gave Sherlock himself that compliment in something I'm sure we're going to be talking about.
I would imagine that would come up, yeah.
But yeah, I've been reading a lot of Sherlock lately. I say reading, more like listening, because there's actually a podcast from Noise a Podcast where they are doing they're doing live. When I say live production, it's actually just one person reading but they're going through all of the Sherlock Holmes short stories. It's actually called Sherlock Holmes Short Stories, and the narrator, the guy that does the reading, is Lord Grantham from Downton Abbey.
Okay,
the actor who played him does a great job. Each one is 2 episodes. They split each short story into 2 episodes. I've been listening to those. They are great. And then I think I mentioned to you in one of our discussions that I had recently read a graphic novel based on Neil Gaiman's A Study in Emerald, which is not a Sherlock Holmes story technically, but it has deep ties to Sherlock Holmes, and it's a Lovecraftian style story too. that is amazing. I can't recommend that enough, to read the short story and then go look for the graphic novel from Dark Horse too. They're both worth reading.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Because of that, I was like, oh, you know what? Look, we've kind of danced around it for a while, but we should just have an episode where we talk about Sherlock Holmes, because, I think, there's so many directions we can go, that, to be honest, this is not going to be a single episode. We can do multiple episodes on Sherlock Holmes, because just the things like I thought of when we were first discussing this, I'm like, we could talk about what are our favorite canon stories, the ones written by Arthur Conan Doyle. We could talk about what, like, I would call it kind of the Sherlock Holmes expanded universe, which are novels that are clearly meant to happen inside of Sherlock Holmes's the Arthur Conan Doyle canon.
Oh yeah,
but they're written by other authors, and I have a lot of those that I really love. Stephen King called one of my favorite Sherlock Holmes stories is The Doctor's Case.
Yeah.
By Stephen King. That's an amazing one.
Did you know that there's an audiobook of that read by Tim Curry?
Yes, I have that audiobook.
That's awesome.
It's part of Nightmares and Dreamscapes.
Okay.
Is the audiobook. And it is. And he nails it.
Yeah, I didn't know that Tim Curry had done that until I started reading and researching, and I was like, I've got that on my list of things. Like, I need to listen to that.
I've got that. I'll see if I can I
found it on YouTube.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to listen to it. I mean, I'm going to listen to it to see what's going on, because I know that I'd sent you a timed text. I love that about my phone, that I can like pick a time and date and schedule text about Sherlock Holmes versus Dracula. The audiobook version. I mean, I've read the book probably 15 times, and I've probably listened to the audiobook 100. It's just awesome.
I have the audiobook on YouTube. I have it saved to a playlist on YouTube. Let's start before we get too ahead of ourselves.
Sure.
So let's literally start with the Conan Doyle canon. Like, what is your favorite, whether it's one of his short stories or one of the novels? Because doing my research, it surprised me that I've actually read more than I thought I had. Because there were like 60 total adventures written by Conan Doyle. And I was like, there's no way I've read most of these. And I haven't. I won't say I've read most of them, but it really surprised me when I was looking at the list of stories. I'm like, oh yeah, I actually have read a lot of these, because I remember when I was in high school, God, I'm getting ahead of myself again. Do you remember Young Sherlock Holmes from the 80s, the movie? I mean,
that is in my notes.
God, I loved that. I still love that movie. I will put it on and watch it from time to time. Love that. It just has such the vibe of Sherlock.
Yeah, Holmes. I don't know that I own a physical copy of that.
I do not either. I have it as digital purchase, and but I'm going to get a physical.
Yeah, I with all of the things that have been going on, and I don't want to get too much into that, but like with Sony and all their nonsense and taking away movies, like I need to have that one.
I agree.
Along with a giant list of other things that I need to have on digital, not on physical instead of digital.
No, I agree completely. Even though I have a lot of stuff on digital that I've accumulated over the years, you can't trust it. You can't trust it. So I'm like, anything I really care about, I will go find a physical copy.
That's what I'm up to now, man, for certain. But what was like if you had to, golly, man, that's hard to do. But if you had to pick a favorite,
it is tough to do, and I'm afraid when it really came down to it, I'm afraid that my answer is going to sound cliche, but after looking through the ones I've actually read, now there are a lot that I still haven't read, and so this may change in the future, but The Hound of the Baskervilles is still my favorite single Sherlock Holmes. Now, it is not just because it's a good story. That to me is one of the quintessential Sherlock Holmes stories. And not only have I read it, multiple times, but it's been adapted so many times that I really and I always look forward to that episode. I would probably say my second favorite, and these are both novels, not short stories. The short stories are just, there are so many of those, but I don't know that I could say any one of those is my favorite. They're all enjoyable. But the novels really kind of stand out more to me just because, well, it's a longer format. You get a deeper mystery, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
My second favorite, besides The Hound of the Baskervilles, would be The Sign of the Four.
Okay. That's two solid choices.
And then I will say one exception with the short story rule, because those are much shorter. But I will say the Red-Headed League is probably up there too with one of my favorites, just because that's such a unique, because that was one of those where I'm reading it, and as the mystery is unraveling, like that's one of the best ones where I'm just like, I don't know where this is going.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, I think that's the thing about a lot of those. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I don't think mine would be quite as cliche, and that's no offense, because I mean, like the Hound.
No, again, sometimes sometimes things are popular because they're great.
They are great.
Yeah.
Mine favorite two are probably two short stories, and I know the reason behind it is because I had the audio cassettes of them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so I have read and listened to these stories many times. And it's the Beryl Coronet and the Blue Carbuncle are two of my favorites because I think they're just amazing. Again, I think, there's something to be said for like the Scandal of Bohemia with Irene Adler showing up, because
that's a great one.
I mean, there's so many good ones, but if it came down to it, I probably would pick the Beryl Coronet over and over and over because I've just read it and listened to it.
It's funny you picked that one. That's one I had never read before, and I recently listened to it on Sherlock Holmes short stories.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the Blue Carbuncle. I don't believe I've read that or heard that one yet.
It's great, man.
I don't think I've ever.
Not going to ruin any of it for you. That one I think it made a little bit more sense at the end. It was like, okay, that's not super tough. Where the Beryl Coronets, I mean, that's kind of wild, man. when you're listening to that, but it's great, and I think that they're awesome. But that would easily be the two, because I mean, I still have them. I haven't listened to them in a long time because they're on cassette tape, and I don't keep tape players laying around the house. But I mean, they would sit beside my bed, and one of those two stories went in the cassette player just about every night, and I would listen to it and go to sleep.
Yeah, I didn't have any of the audio books or audio cassettes. I remember most of the Sherlock Holmes, the real Sherlock Holmes reading I did as a early teenager through high school were the mass market paperbacks. I believe Ace might have been one of the publishers who published them, and I loved those. And now those were not like even though they had the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, one paperback only contained like 4 or 5 stories. So there were multiple. You'd have to collect multiple books to get the full Adventures of Sherlock Holmes or the Return of Sherlock Holmes and all that. And I never accumulated a full list. Now that we're talking about it, I'm like, okay, maybe next. Now that Space 1999, the comics are wrapping up, maybe that'll be the next project. Will be to collect all the old mass market paperbacks from the 80s.
Yeah, I love buying Sherlock those Holmes too.
Stories.
I don't know that I'll ever beat that book that I found. I think I paid $3 for it at McKay's. I'll grab it before it's over with, but the cover of that book is just unreal. And
there are lots of collected editions. I even have I think I even have the Barnes and Noble complete Sherlock Holmes that they sell for like, well, yeah, I think it used to be like $9.95 now. I'm sure it's more expensive now.
Probably.
But
Yeah, I'm going to grab that book real quick.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I knew it was right there. It's huge, but
oh yes, yeah, the casebook of Sherlock Holmes, and that's one of the later ones. Like that one, when I was doing my research, I think the casebook came out like really much. Like that's near the end of Conan Doyle writing, like in the 20s.
Okay. Yeah, this
So
was
that's
copyright
probably
68.
Yeah, see, that's probably one that I'll be honest, I probably haven't heard or read many of those stories in there because that one was so, it's a much later. The ones I'm definitely more familiar with are the beginning
Yep.
of his canon with, A Study in Scarlet. I've read that multiple times, The Sign of Four. Then, there's Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, Memoirs, The Return. Casebook is his last, I think, collection of short stories. And you'd have to read out some titles. I probably haven't read many of those.
You might be shocked, man, because this
Maybe I will, yeah.
I was thinking along. It's got A Study in Scarlet, The Hound of the Baskervilles.
Oh, so it has those novels. So that may not actually.
Blue Carbuncle, Scandal in Bohemia. It's a lot of the.
Oh, so they may, for the publication, they may have just used the title, The Casebook of Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, I think so.
For that, but it's actually just a collection of.
It's just
stories. Sherlock Holmes, novels and stories. Yeah,
I bought that solely because the cover of the book was so amazing.
There's no way. Yeah, there's no way. If I had seen that too, there's no way that's staying there.
No, that was definitely coming home, man. But no, I mean there's so many good stories, but I think I feel pretty confident in saying those are my favorite.
No, and that's great. Yeah. And I'll be honest, a lot of the stories, there are a lot of stories I could have put higher, but I'm going to save that because I'll give you an example. The Musgrave Ritual, The Six Napoleons. God, there was one more that I can't think of the title now. There are these stories where I don't associate them with reading them. I associate them with the 1980s Granada TV series starring Jeremy Brett as Sherlock Holmes, where, I mean, we're going to get to this, I'm sure, because I was hoping one of ours would be, who's your favorite actor that's ever portrayed Sherlock Holmes?
We can talk about that.
Let's jump on that right now, because I'm just going to say it. Jeremy Brett, he is Sherlock Holmes.
I don't know that there is. I mean, I think there's a strong case for Basil Rathbone if you wanted to go there.
Oh, and that's the thing. Basil Rathbone, he gets honorable mention to me just because I grew up any Sherlock Holmes TV or movie when I was a little kid in the 70s is probably going to be Basil Rathbone. But once I just remember that because they used to show them on PBS. At like 11 o'clock at night.
You're not incorrect.
And I was like, as soon as I got those, I was like, ooh. And I actually do. Again, I only have it digitally, so it now needs to become physical. But I do have the entire Granada series.
Nice.
And
I knew that Jeremy Brett was coming. And I think the safe answer for a lot of people might be Benedict Cumberbatch. If you had to pick someone else, which I think is, I mean, that's good. I remember the first time I saw the Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock's. We were in the mountains with a good friend of mine, and Cassandra went to bed. And this is like Roku is like brand new, and so I figured out how to work the Roku, and I was like, oh, cool. I can watch Sherlock. So I watched the first episode, and then the next thing I know, I've like watched about all of them. And Cassandra's like getting up, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "It's time to get up." She's like, "You haven't been to bed?" No. I have not, but I'm going to go way out there, and I'll pick Tom Baker.
Tom Baker, okay,
yeah, because he played Sherlock Holmes, and I think 3 or 4 times, not on Doctor Who, but like outside of Doctor Who.
Right. I'm trying to remember. I know I've seen those. Here's the problem with just saying it outright. Who's my favorite screen Sherlock Holmes is Basil Rathbone and Jeremy Brett both played the character for a long stretch of time.
Yeah.
There are other great actors who played Sherlock Holmes, but they may have only played him once or twice.
Yeah.
And so, because one of my favorite Sherlock Holmes movies stars Christopher Plummer as Sherlock Holmes, and he did a great job as Sherlock Holmes, but that's the only time I know of that he ever played Sherlock Holmes. So I can't say he's my favorite on-screen Sherlock Holmes, but he's definitely great. I think here's the thing with Benedict Cumberbatch, because I'm going to say something that might be controversial, is I really liked Sherlock the first time I watched it. Like Logan and I watched it when years ago. About a year or so ago, I actually tried rewatching the BBC Sherlock and did not like it. I didn't care for it, especially as it went on. They're like, especially like the death of Sherlock Holmes thing, the way they handled that, I just thought was the most disrespectful way to approach that with your audience, because people. It was like a Who Shot JR moment, because you had the series finale with Sherlock dying, or apparently dying.
Yeah,
how's he going to come back? It's a whole Rickenbach Falls scenario, and instead of just handling it almost kind of like Conan Doyle at least tried to put out an explanation for how Sherlock survived the fall and came back, and instead it seemed a little mean-spirited in retrospect, the way they handled it, because over that time lap between those two, there were so many fan theories about, this is what happened, or this is what happened. And in the episode, they literally just, in a mean-spirited kind of way, just discredit the fan theories. And then they don't explain it at all. They just basically, you'll never know. You don't need to know. He's just back. And it's literally kind of the same thing with the writing in The Rise of Skywalker. Somehow Palpatine returned.
Yeah.
That's the worst level of writing. But the thing is, Sherlock had done it, on half a decade earlier with that episode by saying somehow Sherlock returned.
Yeah.
There you go. That's your explanation. And then there were later episodes, especially the later specials, that I honestly just don't make heads or tail of what was going on in the episode. Like the one where they introduce his sister, who's of course smarter than he or Mycroft are, and all that. Yeah, she's so smart, she's crazy. This kind of thing. I'll be honest, some of that I just wasn't following it. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, you've got some crossover writers that ruined Doctor Who.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, I think I understand the criticisms as it went on. The first few, when they were pulling from the source material and
I will say the earlier ones are better.
Yeah,
the earlier ones are better. As it went on, it got weaker.
Yeah.
But at the time, and I'm going to fully say, I didn't feel that way necessarily the first time I watched it. When Logan and I watched it, when it was still on the BBC. We loved it. I mean, we thought, we were just so excited that a modern take, they're bringing them into the modern world. We really enjoyed it. I loved Benedict Cumberbatch. I loved Martin Freeman. I had to think. Yeah, Martin Freeman was a great Watson. Their dynamic was great. I really, and like I said, this really only happened to me on a rewatch, where I went back and I rewatched it, and especially when I got to the Rickenbach Falls episode and the resolution of that, or lack of resolution of that, that I really I didn't go any further. I just dropped it. I'm like, this just doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
I'd rather go watch the Jeremy Brett Granada series again.
I understand that. Yeah. I tend to watch the earlier episodes. Again, when I watch that Sherlock, more than
that being
some of the later stuff.
I would love for them to do a television show adapting the original Sherlock Holmes short stories and novels with Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman. That would be amazing.
I did like that Christmas one where they were in the past.
Yeah.
I thought that one was awesome. I did enjoy that. So, well, we're on it. Who is your Watson? Is it David Burke?
No, it's Edward Hardwicke. David Burke, wasn't he? Maybe I've got that mixed up. David Burke, he was Jeremy Brett's Watson for one season, I thought. And then Edward Hardwicke was Watson the rest of the time. Or do I have that reversed?
I don't remember which way that flops. I know that I'm
pretty sure it's Edward Hardwicke, though.
He was much older than David Burke.
Then I think I have it backwards. Then.
Yeah, look him up real quick just to make sure.
Yeah, let me take a look.
I feel like David Burke was on there more, but I might be wrong about that. Because I thought the other guy was a lot older. They both look very similar. I mean, they're very similar.
David Burke. That's the one. I had them mixed up. I had
a feeling that was coming. And so.
Oh, let's have a moment of silence. He just passed away this year, 10th of May at 91.
91, you lived a good life, man.
He lived a long life. But yes, he's the one. I had those two reversed because
they look exactly alike.
David Burke was like Edward Hardwicke was only Watson for one season of the Granada, and then it was Edward Hardwicke. No, and David Burke. See, I'm still getting them confused. I'm just going to call him Keith.
Yeah, Keith.
Keith. We're just going to name him Keith.
I honestly, like, when I first started doing this, I knew who was coming. Because I knew. I mean, I love Martin Freeman, but he's not the answer. And so I knew it was going to be David Burke. And so I had one answer. But in my research, I have a second answer, and I honestly think I'm going to probably take the second answer. But I loved in the Star Trek episode that was Sherlock themed when LeVar Burton was Watson.
Oh no, I have those. I have a section in my notes where I'm like Holmes-inspired fiction and stuff, and I have the Next Generation episodes.
So I have that in there. As mine, but
because Data as Sherlock is also awesome.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But in the research of this, I started watching Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century.
Oh my God, I remember that cartoon.
Dude, that cartoon is awesome. And so they have a robot that is affectionately named Watson. And I think that's just because his great niece or whatever she happens to be in the cartoon named him that. But when Sherlock Holmes shows up, he ends up giving the robot all of Watson's like journals. And the robot reads it all and takes it so seriously that he thinks he's Watson. And then he gets this fake face that looks just like Watson, which I thought was awesome. But he really does become an awesome, endearing Watson in that cartoon. Now, that cartoon's very Spider-Man-like because most of it's animated, but then some of it's like 3D animation.
I remember that cartoon, like seeing commercials for that cartoon, and that was early to mid 90s.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, because I don't know that I can actually say I ever sat down and watched an episode, but I remember it being. Was it a Fox? Was it part of the Fox morning? I think it was.
The way the animation runs looks just like Spider-Man, so probably. Dude, it's amazing. I mean, it really is awesome.
I'd be up for having a look at that because as I said, as I was doing my research and going through notes, I'm like, wow, I remembered that one. There were there's all the appearances of Sherlock Holmes, or the Sherlock Holmes like stories, and of course
Yeah.
the Moriarty AI and Star Trek: The Next Generation. That I should have done that. You were watching that. I should have actually watched those episodes of Next Generation today as to get me in the mood, but I didn't. But those are great. But no, I'll have to definitely check out that Sherlock Holmes. I thought I actually had another. I thought there was another, not cartoon exclusively. Oh, I had it in my notes because I was gonna specifically talk about the Great Mouse Detective too. Do you remember the Disney?
The Disney Great Mouse Detective is in my notes.
Yeah, that was actually talking about that. Now I saw that came out, I believe, in the late '70s, early '80s. I remember that. That's probably the closest I remember to any like merchandising for Holmes too, because I do remember at my grandmother's house we had a board game for the Great Mouse Detective.
Okay.
And so, but it's funny, as you were talking about how the robot made an endearing Watson as the episodes go on. I would say the Great Mouse Detective, I loved that adaptation. Now, maybe it's because I'm nostalgic looking back at when I saw it as a kid, but I actually thought that transition of that story to mice actually worked. I still thought of them as Holmes and Watson.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I mean it's definitely interesting in the ways that you can go around and look at some of those things, and the way that it's so easily adapted into cartoons. I mean, it's just. I mean, I think the one I had the most exposure to would probably be Scooby-Dum, and his take on Sherlock was the one that I think about the most. Growing up,
you sent me the screenshot from the Batman Brave and the Bold episode, which I have not seen that one.
Oh my gosh, it's so good! Holy cow!
That one has two things going for it, in that he meets Sherlock Holmes, and that he gets a costume inspired by Gotham by Gaslight. Dude. I'm like, I gotta find that episode.
It's on HBO. It's probably still queued up because I watched it today. It's a great episode, and I think
I love that cartoon. That cartoon was so much fun.
I thought I was watching the wrong one because I had looked it up and I think it said season 1, episode 15, but the beginning of it starts with him and Flash fighting Scarecrow, and I'm like, what is this? And it's just like a little short.
Brave and the Bold actually did, because like the comic book, every issue of the comic was Batman teaming up with another superhero. And that's kind of the thing they did with that show, is that in every episode or story arc, he's teamed up with other superheroes. And I'm going to just say it, Laura would disagree, but the Aquaman in Batman Brave and the Bold is the best characterization of Aquaman ever.
Okay.
There's actually a short that's part of an episode where Aquaman, Aqualad, and Mira literally go on a road trip across the United States. And Aquaman is such a blowhard because he's always bragging about the adventure. I remember this adventure but he is actually a really great hero too. So that is my favorite characterization of Aquaman, probably in any media.
Nice. I mean, I'm probably going to always gravitate towards Super Friends, but I'll have to give that a look, because I mean, honestly, that was. I don't want to give it away, man. Like, Batman gets into a tussle with something, and his suit gets really damaged, and when he conjures that new suit, like I had to pause for a minute. I was like, "There's no way they just put this in here."
Yeah. I had no clue. I have not seen all the episodes. God. So now I've got to find that episode, because I'm like, and you said there's actually a call out for Mike Mignola too.
Well, yeah, they call it Mignola Chapel. You have to be listening for that. And I mean, you have to know what's going on, But I like I said, I left that going, yeah, these guys love Batman. Like they're all about some Batman because, and it was good, man, because there was some really good banter between Batman and Holmes back and forth as it went through. And I think the ending, I don't think it could have been much more perfect with Batman's, and it's crazy how he gets to Sherlock to begin with. Because they're two different time periods.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to go watch that episode.
Oh, it's awesome.
I am, because that just has a lot going for it just for me. That show in general, and I don't want to derail our discussion to talk about Batman Brave and the Bold, but I always feel like not only do the creators of that show, did they love the character Batman and the DC universe as a whole, but I think they actually loved the 66 Batman, because if you really watch that show, it almost feels like a continuation of the 1966 TV show. Like, I feel like that's that Batman. It's the Adam West Batman. Because even, I forget the actor's name. I remember him from Office Space. He's the neighbor of one of the characters, that he's the voice of Batman. I cannot remember that actor's name, I'm sorry to say. And I wasn't expecting to have to know it. But he does a great job. And in a way, he's kind of doing... And I'm not saying he's doing an Adam West impersonation, but it's got an Adam West flavor to his portrayal of Batman, in that he is just upright and a good guy. And when Robin, the episodes with Robin that appears, he actually calls him chum.
Nice.
Yeah. And so that show is an underappreciated, and I'm going to say it had some of the best action figures, as far as not details wise, but they fit the style of the cartoon, and it was a nice selection in that you could build like the entire Justice League and Batman's villains. And the reason I say it feels like a continuation of the 66 show is because there are a lot of villains that show up in the show that I don't think have been that have been mentioned. Some of them I don't even know that they've ever been brought into the comic book continuity, like Egghead.
Yeah.
He was kind of created. Vincent Price played him in the original show, but Egghead is a villain. There's an episode where he's the villain of the episode, and I'm like, I don't even know if that character is even in comic continuity. Like, I think he was created for that show.
I would have to ask you if that Craddock ghost guy is the Phantom, or
the Gentleman Ghost.
The Gentleman Ghost, yeah.
He's in the DC. He's a DC character.
Does he show up a lot though?
Not a lot. I wouldn't say a lot, but he is like in the comic book continuity.
Well, this is his origin story, so it's so good.
I can't wait to go look at that.
It's so good, man. I loved it.
Yeah, we should put a pin in that. Another episode upcoming is going to be about Batman 66 and its continuation in the modern age.
Oh, I can't. The Batman 66. I can't wait to talk about, and then we'll do Brave and the Bold. But I don't think it's not a stretch though, man, because I would have to say a lot of the things that Batman does is highly influenced by Sherlock. I mean, my goodness gracious.
Especially the detective parts. I mean, clearly.
The way that Robert Pattinson film is shown, it's like watching Sherlock walk into a room, the way he is like analyzing everything. So, I mean, there's definitely some parallels between the two. And I mean, I guess that brings it, and we're getting close to the end time anyway.
Well, I was going to say that we probably should have planned for this, because this is too big a topic for one 1 hour episode.
It is.
I should say, let's just say that this is our RetroCult visits 221B Baker Street Part 1.
Sure.
Because we're definitely, I haven't even gotten halfway through my notes.
Oh, me either, man. I've got so many note cards. I guess let's wrap it up with Sherlock and Batman together in the comic book. Just a brief touch on that. and then we'll sign off.
Let's see. That was Detective Comics 572. I actually have that one hanging on my wall upstairs in the comic room.
I have it, and I have a frame to put it on the wall because that's one that I'm like, no, that needs to go on the wall. It's
the art is by the great Alan Davis, one of the best Batman artists ever. It takes place in the modern era at the time of the 80s, and I even love the explanation for how Sherlock explains how he's lived that long.
Yeah.
Because he's what, like 140 at the time. But I love the way they just wrote in this, Tibetan mysticism stuff. And I live, what was he? It had something to do with Tibetan mysticism or something for how he, but that's what I was referencing earlier in that episode, in that issue.
Yeah.
Batman actually tells Sherlock, you're the world's greatest detective.
I mean, that gets mentioned in The Brave and the Bold too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's again, I mean, like everything when you watch that and you start breaking it down, it's like, golly, these guys just consume Batman. But yeah, it's such an iconic cover, man. Like that is it's the art on that is amazing. The story's fantastic. There is a Batman record that I have where he interacts with Sherlock, and they're not 100% sure by the end of the story if that was a ghost or not. They don't really tell you what happened at the end of the record because it's a record. It's just like a power record story. But it's amazing too. But no, man, I mean, I agree. I think, part one, certainly, because there's so much stuff with Sherlock that we could just keep going on and on.
Well, there's actually, I would say let's save a deeper dive into Sherlock's appearances in comics.
Sure.
Because as you've recently been able to pick up, there are actually comic reprints of old newspaper comics for Sherlock Holmes. You've found some of the comic collections of those.
Yeah.
I know DC and Marvel have both taken a shot at doing a Sherlock Holmes comic, even though I don't think either one lasted more than one issue.
That's a shame because they're awesome.
That is a shame. And it surprises me now that I think about it that a modern company hasn't tried to just do a run of comics based on the Sherlock Holmes short stories.
On the short stories, man. Just crush it.
So, but anyway, that being said, there are some fun. Not all of them are actually Sherlock Holmes because I was going to mention I have an issue of the Joker. The Joker had a short run solo comic back in the 70s. And there is one issue where it's clearly Sherlock Holmes. He's wearing a cloak. He's wearing a deerstalker cap. He smokes a pipe. All this, but it's not Sherlock Holmes. And I guess they didn't feel like they could use Sherlock Holmes, but it's clearly Sherlock Holmes versus the Joker.
Okay,
and that's a pretty fun one. And that could lead us into, I had pulled some books from my shelf that I wanted, and we're not going to talk about these, but I will, we'll save these for part two.
Yeah,
where these are the Solar Ponds novels. These are written by August Derleth, who and I didn't realize this till I'd done some research into these, that he actually had approached the Conan Doyle estate asking to write Sherlock Holmes stories to keep the Sherlock Holmes canon going, and they declined him. They told him no. So he just went and basically created the most clear ripoff of Sherlock Holmes, as you could maybe see if you're watching this on YouTube. I mean, that's Holmes and Watson right there. But no, it's Solar Ponds, and the doctor is I forget the doctor's name, and I'm looking on the back. I don't see it. But it's not Dr. Watson, but these are so clearly, it's like literally it's like he had the stories already written and they said, no, you can't publish these. So he just literally went through and changed the names, but these are Sherlock Holmes stories. And I'll be honest, these get a lot of hate. I've actually some of the pulp book reviewers that I have talked about these, and they all kind of trash them. And I really think they're being hard on them. I've read The Return of Solar Ponds and the Case book, and they're actually not bad. They're not bad. They're fun. I'll give you that. They're fun. Yeah. I won't say I will say they do not have the same narrative voice as Conan Doyle did, but they're good stories, and I think they're pretty good mysteries in and of themselves. And actually, he goes in some different directions. Like, it's not all, like, he does kind of almost start leaning into the supernatural, and because he also August Derleth also wrote a lot of stuff in the Cthulhu mythos, because he personally knew H.P. Lovecraft and corresponded with him, and he wrote a lot of stuff in that. And you can tell in some of these stories he wanted to do a Sherlock Holmes Cthulhu mythos mashup.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get that Doctor Who Sherlock crossover where they're together at some point. I know the Talons of Wang Ching was close, but it's not quite the same. That's probably where he should have been. But I would just love to see those two interacting, because I think it would be awesome. But
here's the thing. Here's what makes that. You would almost need AI and special effects to make it happen. Is I want a Tom Baker as Doctor Who and Sherlock Holmes.
To be both, to play both. I would take David Tennant and Tom Baker. I could deal with that. But no, I mean, I don't think that's ever going to happen. And honestly, if they did it now, they
I don't trust them to do it now. No, they wouldn't do it well.
I'm very upset with what's happened with Doctor Who, man. It's just such a weird time for that not to even be around. I don't even know what to say about that.
Well, another episode, the beauty of it is we're going to do another. We should do an episode, because both of us love Doctor Who and have been long. I was a TARDIS nerd before it was cool. Yeah, way before it was cool. Let me put it that way. And I would love to do another one of these episodes where we talk about our favorite Doctor Who. We both know who each other's favorite Doctor Who is, but I would love to talk about our favorite Doctor Who stories. And then you have so much extra stuff with the comics. Like the Marvel Doctor Who run in the 80s is underappreciated, vastly underappreciated. But I know I'm getting off track again, but let's just put a pin in this, and let's plan on doing RetroCult in Baker Street. Part 2. We'll
have to come back to it for certain, man. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed this little small dive into Sherlock. Let us know in the comments what you would like for us to talk about next, Sherlock related or not. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. It certainly does help our channel, and we will see you soon. Hope you find something cool while you're toy hunting this week.
Have a great week.